close your eyes for just a second. Think about that sound. You know the one. That high-pitched whine of the dentist's drill. For most of us, that's the sound of dread, right? It means patching things up, knowing deep down the damage is kind of permanent. But what if? What if that whole process, the drilling and filling of common cavities, just stopped being necessary for most people? That's what we're diving into today. We're looking at the sources around this huge announcement from November 2025. It's about a new protein-based gel that seems to do the impossible. It actually regrows tooth enamel naturally. We've been digging into the studies, especially the work coming out of the University of Nottingham, to really get our heads around it. Because this isn't just, slightly better filling, it feels like a completely different way of thinking about dental health. So let's unpack it. What is this gel? How does it work? And what does it really mean?
It really does border on a scientific miracle, you could say. But to grasp why it's such a big deal, you need to understand the problem with enamel itself. Enamel, that hard outer layer of your teeth, it's the hardest stuff in your body, harder than bone.
Right. But here's the catch. Unlike bone, which is living tissue and can repair itself, enamel is, it's static. It forms when you're a kid, and that's it. Once it's damaged, decay, acid getting knocked, it doesn't really heal itself in any significant way.
So it can't grow back on its own.
Exactly. And dentistry has always worked around that limitation. For centuries, the whole approach has been mechanical. Drill out the bad stuff, the decayed part, and fill the hole with something else.
Like a composite or metal or ceramic.
Precisely. Inert materials, foreign materials, and the moment that drill touches the tooth, the original perfect biological structure, gone forever. We just accept that.
Okay, that context is absolutely crucial because the sources, they're making this really startling claim. They're saying this gel could be the end of common cavities. That sounds like moving way beyond just patching things up. It suggests the tooth could actually heal itself perfectly.
That's the paradigm shift, yes.
But wait, if our teeth are bathed in saliva all the time, and saliva has calcium and phosphate, the building blocks of enamel,
why hasn't this kind of natural repair been happening all along? What's this protein doing that saliva alone can't?
That's the key question, isn't it? The issue isn't a lack of raw materials. Your saliva is full of calcium and phosphate. The problem is organization. You need a template, a blueprint, to arrange those minerals correctly.
Okay.
When decay starts, the tooth surface gets acidic. You might get some minerals sticking back on sometimes called remineralization.
Right, I've heard that.
But it's disorganized, it's messy, the resulting layer is weak, brittle. It's more like a scab than a proper structural fix.
Just a patch job, really.
Exactly. What the Nottingham researchers figured out is how to mimic the original process, the biomineralization that happens when enamel first forms in childhood. They recreated the function of specific proteins, things like amelogenin. Think of these proteins as the construction managers.
The foreman on the job site.
Sort of, yeah. They guide exactly how and where the enamel crystals, the hydroxyapatite, should grow. They ensure the correct structure. Without that protein template, the crystals just pile up randomly, no strength, no proper integration. That's the gap this gel fills. It provides the blueprint.
So we're shifting from just reacting to damage to actively guiding the tooth's own regeneration.
Yeah.
That's fundamental.
Let's get into the how, though, the actual chemistry, because this stuff sounds really different. The sources keep mentioning it's fluoride-free. Fluoride has been the gold standard for prevention for decades. How does taking that out change things?
It changes the entire approach. Fluoride works by making the enamel you already have a bit tougher, more resistant to acid.
Okay.
It helps strengthen existing, maybe slightly compromised enamel. But it doesn't kickstart the growth of new, perfectly structured enamel.
So it's about preservation versus creation. Precisely. This new gel operates on a completely different biological principle. It's about engineering new material from the ground up. It starts with the protein itself. This isn't just any protein, it's a synthetic mimic, a biomimetic polymer designed to recognize damaged enamel.
So it knows where to go.
Yes. When you apply the gel, these protein chains find the defect and self-assemble right onto it. They create this incredibly organized nanoscale scaffold.
Like painting microscopic lines on the tooth surface.
That's a good way to think of it. A blueprint laid directly onto the damaged area. It's not just sticking there, it's setting up the structure.
Okay, creating the foundation.
Exactly. And then comes the really elegant part, the bit that makes it so different from fillings. Once that protein scaffold is in place, it does its main job. It acts like a highly specific magnet
A magnet
for the calcium and phosphate ions that are already floating around in your own saliva.
Okay, so it uses what's already there.
Your saliva is packed with them. The protein template just selectively attracts them and, crucially, guides them. It tells them exactly where to settle in the perfect crystal lattice structure needed for strong, healthy enamel.
Wow.
So you grow a new mineral layer, and because it's guided by this perfect template, it's not just strong,
It's identical.
chemically and structurally identical to the original enamel underneath it. It integrates seamlessly.
Seamlessly. That's huge because fillings, they always have that edge, right, where they meet the tooth.
Exactly. That boundary is the weak point. Fillings expand and contract differently from the tooth. Micro gaps form, decay gets back in.
The filling fails eventually.
Often, yes. But if this new layer is truly integrated, chemically bonded as part of the tooth's structure, you eliminate that whole failure cycle.
It's like the body's own repair kit. The saliva finally gets the right instructions.
That's a perfect summary of the elegance here.
Okay, but let's push this a bit further. We get how it fixes early cavities, surface damage. But what about people with ongoing dental issues, chronic pain? Is this just an enamel-only fix, or does it go deeper? What's the bigger picture?
Well, that's where the versatility really shines. This isn't just about small cavities. It addresses two other major problems that cause a lot of pain in dental work for millions.
Yeah, what are those?
Exposed dentine and the hypersensitivity that often comes with it.
Right, the layer underneath the enamel.
Exactly. Dentine is softer than enamel, and it's filled with these tiny, tiny tubules that run directly towards the nerve inside the tooth.
Ouch.
Yeah. When an enamel wears away or gets damaged, these tubules get exposed. That exposure is bad news.
It hurts, for one thing.
It hurts, yes, but it also lets decay progress much faster and deeper into the tooth. So by regenerating that perfect enamel layer over the top, you're immediately sealing off and protecting that vulnerable dentine. You stop the damage right there.
And those tubules, they're the reason for that sharp pain you get with hot or cold drinks, right?
Sensitivity. Absolutely. That's dental hypersensitivity. It's basically a plumbing problem.
Oh, okay.
Fluid moves inside those open tubules when the temperature or pressure changes, and that movement triggers the nerve. Pain.
So if you seal the tubes.
You stop the fluid movement. The sources are very clear. This gel is highly effective for sensitivity. By growing back that natural enamel seal, you're fixing the root cause. You're not just masking it with desensitizing toothpaste ingredients that wash away. You're building the wall back permanently.
Wow. Okay, so one technology mimicking natural enamel growth tackles cavities, protects the underlying dentine, and solves hypersensitivity.
That's the potential, yes. It consolidates the treatment for three really common, really annoying dental problems into one regenerative approach.
Pretty incredible. Now let's get practical, because this sounds amazing, but how does it actually reach people? The sources mention this idea that dentistry could be completely different in 5 years. That's soon for such a massive change.
It is an aggressive timeline, yeah.
What are the hurdles? Is this going to be some super specialized lab procedure, or can my regular dentist do it?
Initially, the thinking is it will be dentist applied for treating existing cavities, areas of erosion, severe sensitivity targeted applications.
Okay.
The big challenges aren't so much the core science now, it seems, but rather scaling up, getting regulatory approval, which takes time.
Right. FDA, EMA, all that.
Exactly. And manufacturing, going from making small batches of this specific protein mimic in a lab to producing it reliably, purely, and affordably on a massive scale. That's a huge industrial step.
And what about the dentists themselves? I mean, if this really reduces the need for fillings, doesn't that kind of upend the whole business model? A lot of dental work is restorative.
It absolutely forces a shift. The entire industry is looking at this. If drilling and filling common cavities becomes rare, then the focus has to move. It shifts heavily towards prevention, towards maintaining enamel integrity before significant damage happens.
Proactive instead of reactive.
Precisely. And maybe towards cosmetic applications too. But you could see this gel being used perhaps as a regular preventative treatment?
Like a superfluoride treatment, but actually rebuilding.
Potentially. Maybe a surface enhancement treatment every few years to keep the enamel layer robust, rather than waiting for a cavity to form and then fixing it?
So instead of dreading the checkup to see how many fillings you need,
you might go in for a regenerative boost to keep things strong. It changes the whole patient experience.
That sounds much better, I have to say.
So just to recap the core science we've pulled from the sources. It's a fluoride-free gel. It uses a biomimetic protein.
Right, the mimic.
That protein creates a perfect scaffold on the damaged tooth.
Okay.
Then that scaffold pulls in calcium and phosphate ions, the building blocks, directly from your own saliva,
Using the body's own resources.
and directs them to form a new mineral layer that integrates seamlessly, structurally identical to the original enamel. And this one mechanism can potentially reverse early decay, protect exposed dentine, and stop hypersensitivity.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for you listening. If we take that 5-year timeline seriously, we could be looking at a world where that dentist drill found becomes, well, rare, at least for common cavities. Think about it. Your kids, maybe your grandkids, might never know that annual fear of finding out how many fillings they need.
Yeah,
That's quite something.
it really is.
But step back from dentistry for a moment. The really big idea here, the one to chew on after this deep dive, is the principle itself. Science has figured out how to use a synthetic structure that protein mimic to guide the body's own materials
So ions in saliva.
to perfectly rebuild the hardest tissue in the human body. Seamlessly integrated healing. So the question is, if we can coax the body into perfectly regenerating enamel, what else could we regenerate?
Right.
What are other tissues? What are the conditions previously thought incurable might be next in line for these kinds of biomimetic regenerative therapies? That's the thought to carry with you.